Okay, cool. So we're recording now. So can we all agree that we will share this video publicly? We get a thumbs up from everybody to confirm that, and verbal from Emiliano and Rico. Hey, Emiliano, we get to see you. Awesome. Hey, thank you as well. Rico, are you back with us? You're on mute if you didn't know that. We haven't heard you yet. Okay, so we'll see when Rico joined us. So great to have everyone here. I'm really excited about what's been happening, and the main thing that's been happening, as you all know, because you all have been involved, is I've gone through the manifestation process with Angie and Paloma and Emiliano, and so we're going to talk about that tonight and where we're at in this whole process. And just the last couple of weeks leading up, we're going to introduce ourselves in just a moment. And I just want to welcome Paloma, and she'll get to introduce herself as we all do in a couple minutes. But since this is the first time Paloma is joining us at the meeting, I just want to thank and welcome Paloma for being here and diving right in with what we're doing. Yeah, so we'll again introduce you along with everyone else in a couple minutes. But I just want to say that, the last couple of meetings we've been talking about, what do we lead with as an organization? Oh, and by the way, I want to say, especially to Paloma and anybody else who didn't remember, if you please put your view on gallery view so we can all see each other. We like to do that if you're able to do that. So we're at this point where we've been talking the last couple of weeks about, what do we lead with as an organization? We had been, for those of you that have been around for a little while, as you know, talking about the collective solutions framework, which is still a very important solution that Uniting for Action is bringing to the world, along with all of these other solutions that we're bringing. But the collective solutions framework, as you know, is more focused on the big issues for the planet, things like climate and pollution and deforestation, things that we need this framework in order to do the big things in the world. But that framework, that whole thing doesn't apply to necessarily you guys with your needs in your life right now. So that's why we're not leading with that anymore. It's still a solution that we're working with, but it's the manifestation process that is, where we're focusing as an organization right now, because everybody can use the manifestation process and everybody can use it powerfully in their lives to create results on a higher level for any results that anybody wants to create in their lives. It just hasn't been a system and a framework that we're all using, crazy as it seems if you think about it, because we've got, again, we've calendars, ways to schedule our time, ways to keep track of things on such a detailed level, but no way to keep track of all the ways we're creating results in a systematic way that we're all speaking the same language and we're all doing the same things with each other. This really, revolutionizes how we interact as humans. And so it's really amazing that we get to be the ones pioneering it. And tonight we'll see, how Emiliano and Paloma and Angie have begun doing that, and how the rest of all of us will continue to do it, because this is really our goal and our objective over the next 3 weeks. It's going to be 3 weeks before we have our next meeting, since it's always on the first and the third Monday, and there's 5 Mondays in January. So it'll be 3 weeks before we have our next meeting. So it's these 3 weeks that we're using to really use the manifestation process, do this analysis, have some plan during this time that we're starting to share with others. We're starting to get that analyst feedback. We're starting to get, more details that we may need to understand, what we need to do to execute our plan. And ideally, for those of you that are ready, then after the next meeting, we'll actually go into the recruitment phase. So it's going to be great if some of you, and some of you will be ready for the recruitment phase after the next meeting. And that's where you start to recruit your vision holders and your stakeholders, because you've gotten to the point where you've said, I've got a plan that's sufficient for me to be committed to seeing this through. And I'm ready to start recruiting vision holders. And the vision holders are the ones that are helping you find what you're looking for, essentially. They're the ones that are in alignment with your vision, so much like, oh, I want to connect you with this person, or I know this here, or somehow they're working on your behalf, different from the stakeholders, because the stakeholders are the ones that are actually executing the final plan. So you may have a plan that's going to involve, video production and venue rental and all these different aspects. And, your friends that are your vision holders, the people that are your vision holders are not necessarily the executors of the plan in the end. You guys see the distinction? So the executors of the plan are the stakeholders. The vision holders are the ones that are supporting you in, bringing in all the stakeholders, bringing in all the resources, and then executing with them. So we're in the planning phase now, and the next phase is the recruitment phase for those that are ready, starting after the next meeting. And then the next phase after that will be the management phase, where you actually get into the project management of it, and you're actually, producing the content, doing whatever it is to actually, create with all of the stakeholders. And you're essentially in project management mode at that point, right? You've got your whole project, you got all your stakeholders, everybody has all their roles, everybody's executing. So then it's just a project management issue for the most part, right? And you just need to make sure you've got all of your project management resources and people and whatever you need to be able to execute at that level. So that's the last level that we're working towards. That, again, ideally, if we can, those of you that are ready, will get to that management execution phase as soon as you're ready, so that could, for some of you, happen within the next couple of weeks. So it's really up to you where you're at, but I'm just forecasting that as a group, I think for the most part, most of us are going to be moving into the recruitment phase after the next meeting. So for those of you that want to kind of be on pace with, I think is like a 3-month pace for us to go through this, that's on pace. Anybody that, can jump ahead, and anybody can, choose to go at a slower pace. But I just kind of want to set the stage for everybody now, so you guys can have kind of an expectation of where we're at in the process and where we're going with this. So any questions about any of that before we start introducing ourselves and jumping into that? Nope. Nope. Any comments anyone wants to make? You guys excited about the idea of this? Is this like sound like what you want to, like what you're up for? I have to share with you, I've been seeing, in the reactions of different people. There's people that love the idea of producing at a really high level, and they want that in their life, and they envision that for themselves. But so many people are so scared of putting themselves on the line for that, that they're not ready to actually like fully step into it as much as they want to. Like they can't join us, essentially, right? Because we're holding the vision and the energy for the actual manifestation of all of it. And for people that aren't ready, for whatever reason, they're uncomfortable, and we all get uncomfortable at our limits, so this really does like test your limits and let you see like, what it is that you're willing to take on and put your word behind, and like get out there in the world and saying, I'm making this happen. You guys see that? It really is the measure of how big you're willing to go in the world, and what the bigness of the vision that you're willing to share and say, I am making this happen.
We like you a lot as a moderator, I have to say. So yeah, I'm up for it.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Paloma. And I know that you are. And, we're actually going to start showing how you are. And I want to save as much of the meeting for that and for brainstorming and talking and sharing. So with that, I will close and start the introduction. So let's have Paloma begin. And I just want to say, to introduce Paloma, we connected years ago. I don't even know if I can figure out the year. Maybe you can, Paloma, 2014, 2015, somewhere in that neighborhood. And, but we haven't been in touch, as I haven't been in touch with anybody. But when I was creating Higher Vibe Life, which Angie got to see, Rico, are you with us, or are we still missing you? Or maybe Rico just can't talk where he's at. Maybe you can chat, Rico, if you're there, or say something. No, still no Rico, no problem. So back in the Higher Vibe Life days, Paloma was one of the people that really resonated and wanted, to support and be a part of it. And that's how we were connected. And as some of you know, I've been sending out lots of messages, like hundreds of messages to my friends, just in my phone. And I still haven't gotten to Facebook beyond my phone yet. I still need to go there. So I've sent messages to hundreds of people in my phone, and Paloma is one of the people that responded. And, I pay attention to who's responding, and, we connected. And Paloma had some skepticism. I'd love if you would share that as well, Paloma. But, we connected and talked, and she really got it on a really deep level and a lot of awesome levels. And I want to say more about Paloma, but I don't want to share what she's going to share. So I want to allow her to share about herself, and then I'll just add on afterwards. So Paloma, please, share. And thank you for being here. I really have appreciated your energy and how resonant your energy is with the energy that I'm holding and Uniting for Action is holding. So I really feel like you are one of the core energetic beings of what we're creating here. And I really honor and appreciate that.
Well, and I thank you so much for the invitation, for the kind words, and for the welcoming. And yes, I think we may have met like earlier, like in 2009, probably, or something
Oh,
like that.
okay,
That's
good.
what I'm
Okay.
guessing. That's when I
Wow.
had my first child in 2008, and I think I may have been around. But anyway, so then this time, then you reach out to me, and I always thought really like nicely of you. You always hold this beautiful energy, and you're always so nice. And then when you get in touch with me, I like to be kind. So, a nice message. And then I started talking to you. You started telling me about this vision. And I remember I was on my way to a luncheon, and I'm like, oh my goodness, he's talking a lot, and then you said something like, I mean, I want to invite you to this leadership counseling. And then I'm like, oh, it sounds great. I didn't understand at all what was all about. And then you told me that there was a cost. And I'm like, no, I mean, this is too much, right? So this is definitely not for me. But then as I kept on talking to you, like, wow, I started resonating to you offer exactly kind of what I was needing. So what is it that I was needing? So I started this business, Astro Paloma, and I'm actually, let me introduce myself. I was born and raised in Mexico. I've been a feng shui master for the past 20 years in my life. I used to consult for clients about their homes and decor and things like that. And then I had the opportunity to travel abroad to multiple countries around Asia to discover that, wow, I mean, like very important people, very important banks, they actually use feng shui, like, I mean, like for, like their businesses and things. Sorry about that. So then I kind of kept on going, and I realized in order for me to become a feng shui master, I have to study directly in Asia with all of these people. So I started to make it happen. And then with the time, they told me that, like Chinese astrology, Batsu, which is a very powerful form of metaphysics, cannot, is the only one that can be used with feng shui. And in order for me to become a master, I need to learn also astrology. So I'm like, you know what? I'm up for the challenge because I love this. So I did it, da da da. Then with the pass of time, I start growing, kind of trying to grow more my practice. I consult for clients, around Miami, and they love what I do. Some people call me like, oh, you're better than a therapist, because I give solutions with the astrology and the feng shui. Astrology acting as a diagnostic of what's going on in your life, and then the feng shui is actually what you can do in your surroundings, in your environment to actually make a change, acting as a cure. Then when one time, and I told Jared this story, I was very ready, like, I mean, I'm like, oh, everything is wonderful. So one of my clients, a famous, celebrity, she wanted me to consult for her. And then she told me, you know what, I love what I do. And I'm trying to grow my business on the side. So I want to start making interviews. Are you up for it? And I'm like, yes, why not? I'm just like, I'm going to say yes to, whatever comes along. So then when we ended up doing the interview, there were two producers, like a cameraman and like the makeup, whatever. And we did it. And we ended up doing it in my house. And by the time that we finished, one of the producers came up to me and she said like, wow, we really like what you do. We have never met anyone like you that expressed themselves so well in Spanish, because I'm obviously bilingual. And she's like, I mean, no one does what you do in Spanish. And like, I mean, why don't you create your brand? Da, 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 da. So they started helping me. And that's when Astro Paloma was born. Right after Astro Paloma was born, I went through an extreme tragedy in my life and in my family's life that completely destroyed me, completely destroyed my life. It broke me into 1,000 little pieces. That by now I know it's what most of us, or a lot of us, recognize and know as the darkest night of the soul, right? Like it's a complete transformation where you stop being who you are and you kind of like rise from the ashes to like really open up yourself in your heart. So I went into this very deep journey of healing. I saw from shamans to curanderas to healers to meditations to ayahuasca, whatever, like whatever it was, I did it because I had to come out. And then I started putting to the test all of these tools that I have learned and how can they help me, achieve this healing and progress in my life, from the economic part to the, like, I mean, like a spiritual part to the relationship part. So now I understand that I had to be put through what I went through to recognize all of these very important, powerful forms of metaphysics. And Chinese metaphysics is divided into three different things. One is like your astrology, right? It takes a third of your life. The other one is the feng shui. Another third of your life is like how the energy of your environment is going to be affecting you. Each one of them affects you like 33.3%. And then the other very important part is that part of like the power of your mind and spiritually awaken, I call it, or soul awakening program. So I started becoming like a life coach, helping people with the feng shui and astrology and mind, motivation to help transform their lives. Like if I did it and I was in a really bad situation, you can do it too. So I'm like, you know what? Now I know, like my knowledge, I would say, I mean, it's kind of like it's where it's supposed to be. And my clients really like it. I started doing a lot of workshops, talks, mini conference, and people really engage and really like that. And I truly believe in what I talk about. And then I'm like, okay, now I need to learn how to share it. And that's the part that I'm not good at it at all. You know, I'm not good at marketing. I'm not good at media. I'm not good at producing. I'm not good at editing. So then I run into Jared and he explained me what the leadership counseling is. Besides, I also, like talk a lot about energy, and I recognize we're about to enter into this new beautiful energetic period. Some of you may know it as the grand era of Aquarius, or the new era of Aquarius, when the Western side of astrology, but I recognize it as what it's called period 8, period 9. We're coming out of period 8 into period 9. Period 9, it's an energy of fire, and it's something that spreads like quickly. So I started kind of recognizing what the leadership counseling is and the vision that Jared has. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it makes complete sense. We can't stay in the period 8 kind of like a mountain pyramid that someone has to be on top and then we'll work for that person, for the CEO. And that now it's going to be a more like spreading across, where everyone starts helping each other, so everyone benefits from each other and the information expands much quicker. So I'm like, you know what, I kind of like it, and that's what I'm here. And Jared has already, helped me out to put some things together. So my last workshop, it was about feng shui and money, feng shui and prosperity, and it went actually really well, and I was able to film it. So, last minute, because Jerry's like, you should record it. I ended up finding someone that could do it. Da, da, da. So now I think I need to edit it and then just put it out there. But I don't know. I'm lost in this part. So that's what Jerry has been helping me. And his manifestation, process, I think is just a phenomenal idea. Starting from the name, and then I started to understand that it's not only about, because I've been manifesting a lot, of course, in my mind, but then these have created these results, and now these manifestations has started to materialize, with the people that is coming into my magnetic field. And now Jared gives me a paper, like, oh, if you follow this and this and this and this and that, you're gonna get to this place. So I find it extremely motivational, extremely helpful, and it makes complete sense. And I can't wait. I mean, um, someone is in like writing. That's so nice, and I'm willing to give this one a try. I think that this is the perfect moment, and I would say my ambition is big. I love talking. I love doing these videos. I like sharing with people. I'm just not good at everything else that I said. So, I don't know what else should I talk about. Or if
No,
I
I
talk too much.
think I think all of that is awesome. I'm going to counter a bit of what you're saying. You're being a little too modest in terms of saying that you don't share it so well, because you do present great, as you said, and as we know, and as we're looking forward to. I saw the videos. We'll have to share with the team there the videos like I shared that you did with the chakra and on Instagram. That was what really hooked me on you, so to speak. When I saw that video, I was like, that is really good. And I shared that with you. I was like, that's really gold, and that's where I saw, what you're capable of. And that's where, as I've shared with Paloma, I can see her holding this energy for our society on a very, national, international level. I really feel like Paloma energetically can carry that energy. And I think that she has everything you need. Obviously, like we've talked about, you need the production team and you need all of the support, but in terms of you connecting with people and really having a rapport with people and sharing this information on a deep level, I'm really excited to see how everything expands from here. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, yeah. So those videos, funny that you mentioned, because that's totally me. I have to just accept it. So I make them. I feel inspired, and I have the time. I have 2 kids, 4 pets, a ridiculously busy life. It's like when I have the time, when I can shovel the kids in school, then I make a video. I'm on vacation. It's crazy. But I finished those videos. I finished the entire set, but I only posted 2, and then I got kind of lazy, because then when I'm gonna post, then I realize, oh my God, I have to make a thumbnail and all of these things that they're just so complicated for me. But I have to say, wait, because I've been making many other videos, and the ones that I'm about to release now, they're the ones about the astrology for 2022. And I think those ones are great. And the reason that I recognize that, obviously with time is getting better and better, is because I was able to put like all the knowledge together, sort of thing. So I use a lot of the spiritual awakening, like power of your mind, together with the astrology, together with the feng shui. So I'm so ready for it. I have great vision. I think it's by the very end my true mission in this lifetime, and I just need help, the network of how to put it together and make it, get to the people. Not everyone gets to hire me to get to their houses, right? And like literally, I have only just been consulting for the rich, I would say. So I want for these to become available to like a bigger market, so people can buy a video, and do things around their home, to make some changes for them to be able to improve their lives. So that's kind of the goal.
Yeah, it's awesome. And Paloma and I also talked about, her having these standalone videos. Like the next one, have you scheduled your date for the Valentine's?
I'm working on it.
What's that?
I'll do it. I'm gonna see Claudia tomorrow.
Okay.
Like Claudia doesn't move a finger without my consultation, my feng shui. So tomorrow I'm actually going to Bagua Center to do their feng shui for the year. So I'll schedule it tomorrow. I promise.
Perfect.
And
yeah, no,
I'll try
great.
to record it too.
Yeah, that's your opportunity. We'll talk about it between now and then, because we'll want to make that a really great one for you. So she'll have these like standalone videos that can be part of a series and a series of videos that people could purchase. And then she's also talking about creating a master class at some point that'll have a much higher price point than that. So, these are the ways that we're exploring how to, really create with Paloma. And we're just doing it really honestly, at a really just basic level, because we have yet to involve all of the different consultants and all the support that'll start to come in. And that's what we're about to start attracting, because now Paloma just hired a videographer, and if he was good, then now he can be in the network and everybody can start to have access. And there's, people don't have to keep searching for videographer, and other people are going to search. And next time Paloma goes, she'll have a, list of all of these different vendors and that sort of thing. And our whole, the whole network will just keep growing with everything that everyone does. So it's, and so on that note, I'm just going to share, because now we'll have to kind of make this also your session that we were talking about, Paloma, in terms of sharing your information, just because now it's already 8:30. We'll have to go to Emiliano and Angie. I really want to focus on what each of you guys shared as well, and also have Michael and Rico and Kat introduce themselves. But let's just wrap up with what I wanted to share of your video, Paloma, just to give everybody an idea of what the actual analysis is looking like, because this, again, Kat, Rico, Michael, and all the other Leadership Council members and people that are watching, this is what we're, all about to do. So let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. 1 second. So we're going to watch 2 minutes until 27:40. So this will give you guys an idea of what the actual analysis is looking like in terms of, going back and forth with Paloma, Emiliano, Angie, as I've done it already. You'll see a clip from each of them, but this gives you a sense of, how we were narrowing in on certain parts.
Studied, what they say is like, you have to be there at the right time, at the right place, with the right type of people, right? Mm-hmm. So in the right environment.
Actually, hold on 1 second. Sorry, that wasn't actually the clip I wanted to share. Let me pull it back up. Wrong clip. Hold on.
With the right mindset. That's something that I always say, like putting the 3 powerful forms of metaphysics is be there at the right time, right? It's your astrology setting up a time in the right environment. That means the right feng shui with the right people and the right mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I appreciate you saying that, because I did want to get that out. I think that is very important. Here is the clip I wanted to share.
Another question that I have for you is, I have to say, one of my favorite workshops that I've done, it was like it's feng shui and metaphysics for love and relationships. So what I did in that workshop, it was a very long one. It was 3 hours, but I involved astrology, to astrology, feng shui, and then the power of your mind, of the motivational part, you know? So I think, I don't know if I should market it metaphysics and love and relationship or feng shui, or I'm trying to decide what would be the best to market. Feng shui, am I gonna be the feng shui queen, or the you know, like metaphysical person, or should I'm always gonna have to talk a little bit about astrology and obviously the power of your mind and the motivational part, but I don't know what would be more appealing to people, because even some of the people, they haven't even heard about feng shui.
Right.
So do you think I should call it metaphysics for love and relationship, or feng shui for love and relationships?
Metaphysics for love and relationships.
So it's broader, right? And then they start like discovering that if they're gonna be learning from me or talking to me, it's gonna be about these 3 different points that I'm actually very clear in all of my channel that you know, like it's heaven's luck, your astrology, it's earth's luck, it's your feng shui, your environment, and it's human's luck, which is, you know, the power of your mind, of yourself. So okay, so let's focus now on metaphysics.
So you guys get an idea, and you know, thank you, Paloma, for sharing that with us. And you guys can really see, you know, what we're doing in these sessions, especially with, you know, Paloma, because her vision, you know, was broad to begin with. You know, I want to, you know, expand what I'm doing in the world, and now we've really honed in on what that vision looks like in terms of specifics of what it's going to manifest in terms of these videos and these series and these appearances and masterclass and all that sort of thing. So you guys get the sense of how we're using these tools and going first from vision into laying it down. It's been really great. Any questions from anybody about that? Any comments? No, awesome. Yeah, thank you, Paloma. It's been a great example, and I'm excited to keep sharing with people as we progress. So yeah, great.
Thank you. So for whoever is out there, so what did you guys really think? Do you like the metaphysic word, or like it seems to me that at Bawa they like to market it as feng shui. So what do you guys think?
I like the feng shui. I like the feng shui.
I like the feng shui.
Yeah.
All right, so I was the contrarian.
I think most people are fascinated with feng shui, and if you can picture that it would have such a major impact on your life, that it's metaphysical throughout all aspects of your life, and then you narrow it down to love and relationships, I think the feng shui is, I think having all those elements is great, you know.
Okay, because that's one thing that I have noticed, that it has to be more targeted. So talking about metaphysics, people still not, you know, like understanding very well what is it that you're going to talk about. Are you going to read the tarot or something? So maybe just focusing into feng shui.
You can mute, Angie.
Oh yeah.
Thanks.
So do you think I should do the event like a feng shui? Jared, what do you think now?
Well, now, you know, now that the others have shared that they'd rather have it be feng shui, and from what you just shared, I think it's a good point that you just made about the, you know, metaphysics maybe leaving people not knowing what it is. So I think if you are going to focus more on the feng shui, and you want to, then that makes sense. That makes sense.
So every time that I start my my workshops or my talk or my conference, I usually always explain like metaphysics, Chinese metaphysics, and how they're subdivided. Kind of tell them, you know, like about the astrology, because no one in this part of the world, no one really puts together astrology with feng shui, and they actually go hand in hand, and it's unbelievable how they kind of join together. And And people is like, wow, they're starting to rediscover it. And then all of the stuff about manifestation and workshops that we do about, spiritual growth and all of this stuff, it's in the power of our mind, which is also part of metaphysics. So kind of maybe the hook is already to mention feng shui that more people kind of knows about in this, western side of the world, in the Americas, and then probably start teaching them through it that is not only about the feng shui. It's just one small part. It's about all of this. But because I have noticed every time that I'm fill out the things for the events, let's say at Bagua, and I always said metaphysics, they always ended up putting feng shui. So I guess
I think it's whatever the audience is. And I think for the audience that you're looking for at Bagua, it's definitely feng shui. And then when you're talking to a broader audience, like reaching people that don't know either, then it could be something different. So I think, but I think we have to leave it at that for now because we have to move on in the meeting. But I appreciate, that we could give you feedback, and I'm glad, especially since you got that more specific feedback from other people, because if you were just going by what I said, you'd go the other way. So I appreciate. Well,
I like what you said.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you got a broader input, and that's the thing, and that's kind of the point of the system, is that one data point is totally unreliable. You need at least two to know if there's any reliability at all, but you really need 3 or 4 or 5. You need to have a number of data points across the audience that you're reaching to really, have data on that. So that's what our system does, is it provides you all of these examples and all of these different, ways that different people have done things, so that you don't have to be guessing and I don't have to be guessing. Like, there's actually some expertise built into the system because people have done it and have gotten results. So it's really important. We're just at the early stages where everyone's opinion and input matters a lot. But as the system matures, it doesn't matter as much. It matters as much as we want it to matter, because we've got all of these other data points to draw from as well. So just keep that in mind in terms of where this is going, because that's how we'll be expanding over time. Essentially, as soon as we can program that, as soon as we map out what that looks like and someone wants to fund it, then that'll get programmed and we'll have that functionality as part of our system. That's how things will evolve. And it'll be, based on demand and based on, all of that. I just want to say those things. But we have a lot more meeting, and I want to really keep to an hour and a half if we can. So I want to have Michael and Rico and Kat introduce themselves. You guys, please each take 2 to 3 minutes to introduce yourselves, and then we'll have Emiliano share and Angie share about what we did with the manifestation process. And that's pretty much what I want to cover today. We're basically covering everything I want to cover in the experience of it, because this is where we're at right now as a team, is for us as a team to be going through this process together and learning from each other and sharing with each other and getting to see like what it can look like. Because the way that Emiliano is using the process is very different than how Paloma is, and the way that Angie is using it is very different as well. So we're already starting to get these very different views of how to use this process to systematize how we create results. So super exciting time. With that, Michael, please introduce yourself, and thank you for being here. It's great to have you.
Hey everyone, so I apologize for being late. I just drove into Vermont. It was a foot snowstorm. It was a negative 70 degrees below zero.
That's crazy.
And everybody's computers went down, and so I had a really, really rough day, and just making sure that a bunch of businesses were back up and running. So I apologize for the whatever. And so
we appreciate you being here in the face of all of that. That's really amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
But let's see. So I guess in way of introduction, I mean, from I don't know where to start here. Obviously I do, you heard, I do computer work. I worked for Apple Computer for 14 years. And I'm still sort of independent on my own in that regard. But I also give plant medicine. And I had 4 nights of 4 ceremonies So this is the first night that I haven't had that too. I was trying to put them around this, and that's a very profound kind of part of my existence. It included two 84-year-olds, retired 84-year-olds that I did a couple days ago, which is interesting. But I don't know. I feel like I'm reintroducing myself each time, but I know that I have not met Paloma, and I really haven't said much to Angie. And I've seen Rico a few times and things, but I don't know. I guess that's some sense of kind of my background, what I do. I mean,
yeah, we appreciate it. I understand, where you don't want to like go through the full introduction every time. I think that's a good catch up for us of where you're at and what's happening. And we know you care a lot more. We totally appreciate it. Yeah. And of course, I would love, anything that you want to share as Emiliano and Angie are sharing, because I'd love to get some feedback and thoughts about what you're seeing. Thank you for being here, Michael, and being
absolutely
available for that. Rico, please, thank you for being here, and please share what you'd like to share in 2 or 3 minutes.
Hi, hola Paloma.
Hello, nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you. Hi, Kat, Emiliano, Angie, Michael. I'm doing pretty good, so
cool.
I don't really have much to share since I've missed like last meeting. I did watch the video, but I was still not clear on what was accomplished. So I'm wondering, I guess I do have like a question, or like kind of would like this answer to be like which is where are we at in terms of the projects? That's all I'm kind of like.
Where are we at in terms of the projects?
Yeah, like both projects, the United for Action project and the Leadership Council project. So whenever it gets answered, it's okay. I'm not asking you directly now. So that's my intention. And
yeah, well, it's an important question if you're not clear about that right now. So I'll just, try to give a very brief answer, not to take up a lot of time. But so where are we at with the project and with the Leadership Council? So right now, we've been basically as an organization in product development mode for the last couple of weeks. Let me actually share, because that was actually in my agenda. So we're actually going off on my agenda now. So I might as well pull it up. So we've been in product development mode the last couple of weeks with the manifestation process. So this is what we've been, working on, obviously me in particular, working on creating the document and the process, and working with Paloma and Emiliano and Angie to create, examples and really work on it. Now, I was talking a couple weeks ago, I know I'll let you keep looking, Rico. I was going to go stop sharing, but we talked about, again, automating this process as much as possible through the website. And I still want to do that as quickly as I can. The thing is that the way that I've been envisioning automating it is not necessarily the way it's been working out in terms of what I've been covering with Paloma and Emiliano and Angie. I think I'm learning what the process is organically, right? Like I had the preconceived notions that we were going to focus on the 6 dimensions: strategy, organizing, management, technology, outreach, and finance. And what I found is that we never got to that level of detail of analysis with any of the 3 meetings. And I'm glad I didn't lead with that, because we really each needed to go where we needed to go. So I'm still learning like what the analysis process looks like, with the intention that we can automate the analysis process as much as possible. Because what's going to happen is we're going to actually be training other people to be the analysts. It's one of the things I was going to mention to you guys, is that it really is an extraordinary privilege. You know, I like to be as humble as I can. This is a non-humble statement here. This is a real privilege for any of you to have me as your analyst in your business right now, because in the coming months and years, the situations where I will personally be doing an analysis will be like with heads of state and multi-billion-dollar corporations, and like on that level, like global level. Like, you know, it's a very limited amount of time that I'm going to be working with individual small business, you know, owners basically on an analysis level. So what my job is right now is to automate this process as quickly as possible, is to make it as replicable as possible, where people get trained. We've got our systems, we've got all the automation, so it's really just plug and play. And Jared's out of the process and on to other things, and I need to extract myself from this whole analysis.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, it's but I know I went down a hole there a little bit. I want to answer your question about the whole project, because that's a piece of it. You know, that's a piece of what's happening right now. Is we've shifted. This is a thing, since you haven't been here for a couple of weeks, Rico. The shift that's happened is when we were, you know, when you were last here, it was focused on these big global issues, right? But right now, like I led with, and I'm not sure when you started hearing, maybe you didn't hear it, is that we are now focusing on what makes a difference in Paloma's life, and Emiliano's life, and Angie's life, and Rico's life, and Kat's life, and Michael's life, and everybody's life. And so it's the manifestation process, which is our lead product. And I've been in product development for the last couple of weeks so that we have something to actually be, you know, doing this with, perfecting as a product, automating as a product. Once it gets to this automation stage, and I'm going to start actually talking to some past student interns to see if they actually want to be hired as like video processors, because that's what they were doing last month. So we can start to have people that are working for us in all these different areas once we define them. That's the nano action. We're really putting all the different pieces into play in order to do, in order to automate all of these different individual things that we're doing right now. So we're doing all these different individual analysis to get a lot of data points, to really understand the trends, to really understand like what is common, to be able to actually put the system together. That's the engineering process that I'm in the midst of right now. And so, you know, again, it's very individualized, but we're doing it with the intention of going where I just mentioned. So any questions about any of that for just that part of it? Does everybody get that? I know it's a deeper level, but I'm glad I got to share that with you guys. Any questions about that?
Okay, I'm loving it. I just want to mention, I'm loving it. I think it's exactly what I kind of needed in my life. Like, I mean, to have like a cheat to follow and actually start making moves, because, you know, if not, I'm just get very lost. And I like what you're saying, like, right now you're giving us your time to learn how to systematize, right? And we're, you know, highly appreciative from that part.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You know, again, non-humble statement, I understand, but I just have to be really clear, you know, you are seeing, you know, the mastery that I have in systematizing things. You're seeing the ways I've already been systematizing things. So, you know, again, to just all of your, you know, individual projects are just data going into my computer brain that's figuring out what are all the commonalities of this. You talk about like artificial intelligence and what it does, like I have like it happening in real intelligence, you know, seriously. So, you know, that's the way that we're doing it for now to get to this point. And then to, you know, again, Rika, just to fully answer your question about where we're at with Uniting for Action and where we're at with the Leadership Council. So that's where we're at in this, we've been at, but in this starting tomorrow, I'm starting to focus much more on administration and recruitment again, just because I have to balance those out. I've really stepped away from administration almost entirely for the last I stepped away from everything to do this product development, because what I just shared with you has required so much focused, creative thought, attention to be able to process all of this. That's what it takes for me. I've got to kind of drop out from the world, drop into something like that, figure it all out, and then come back and share it with everybody. So that's my process. And so you guys will see that when that keeps happening. But now I've done it enough to kind of keep going with that and to start focusing on, for example, let me go back to the agenda. It's in the agenda. And I apologize. I can tell you already, since I really want, Angie and Emiliano to share properly, that we probably are going to go past 9:30, but I think it is important for everybody to see this. And I do want to, share. I'm glad you asked those questions, Rico. So we're going to be shifting more into admin and recruitment mode over the next couple of weeks. So in particular, we're going to start using Slack. So I know not all of you, have used that or even knows what that is, but it's going to be the communication tool where I can post a new video and post whatever. And it's not going to be coming to you how, I've been WhatsApping you or messaging you. Now you'll just tune into Slack and get caught up on all the messaging whenever you do. And you can have an app on your phone, all those different things. So Slack will be the place that will have the communications for everything, with each other about everything. So we'll be doing that starting this week or next week. And then we're also going to be having more leadership council members and sponsors come on board, because I'm going to be sharing this with more people and really focusing on recruitment as well the next couple of weeks. So that's where we're at in terms of the flow of the organization right now as an organization. And in terms of the leadership council, just to finalize that for you, Rico, is that with the leadership council right now, we have shifted, and again, I made a point of this last week, and I'm glad you're bringing it up. We have shifted where when everybody came on to begin with, and I mentioned this in the 10-minute video that I sent you guys, if any of you got to see it or didn't get to see it, it's in there as well. When I recruited the early people like you, Rico, it was about our collective strategic framework and addressing these big challenges and big issues. And that still is where we're going. And that's still why I created all of this, is so we can address all of these big issues. And we get to address all those big issues when we practice getting good at all of this results related stuff around the stuff that we care about the most. And when we get our needs handled using these tools, then we can start to have the thriving, time, energy to be able to come together around these other things. And we're already experts at this whole system. So it's going to naturally flow in. The energy of the organization is going to naturally flow into those collective solutions by all of us individually becoming masters at whatever is most important to us. And that's the thing that, each of us are figuring out right now. And I don't know if you already have, Rico, but you're going to say, this is what's most important to me. That's the best way that I can leverage my, time with the leadership council, the amazing people that I'm connecting with, the tools that we have, the visibility, all the different things that you get as a leadership council member. It's like, how can I best leverage this 3 months to, have whatever results I want to have in my life that, are somewhat only available in this moment, in this environment, with these people, that sort of thing. So that's kind of where we're at as a leadership council, is just each of us really grabbing that and getting that, total value. And then as each of you do that, we're basically creating the foundation of everything bigger from here with Uniting for Action. So really, that's almost the only job. We're doing more as a team, and we will. But for this next 3 weeks, the only job of the Leadership Council is just to excel at using the system and creating results, taking advantage of the infrastructure, the framework, the connections, everything to just create results in your life like you never have before. Now is your opportunity with all the tools. It's just a matter of how much you're able to embrace it, over the coming weeks. So in my mind, that's kind of where we're at as an organization, where we're at as a Leadership Council. Any questions?
Okay.
Any comments from anybody, Rico or anybody?
So let me just rephrase that, I guess. So basically you went from, first we were consulting the United for Action, but then now you're consulting us in a way, to our business, so that we figure out our way to improve things. I mean, like we're now sharing like what we need, right? And then we're receiving counsel from everyone. Is that not what we're doing?
It's not just counsel from everyone, because the framework, the process, the manifestation process has you capture all of your answers. So as you go through the process, and I guess, you haven't looked at it or gone through it, but as you go through the process, all your answers are captured, kind of like we just did with Paloma. Now she's going to be.
Let me just see. Let's just continue, and let me just see how it's done.
Yeah,
with the rest, and then that's fine. I quiz.
I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea. Let me go ahead and see if there's anything else I need to cover in here. I did want to actually do the I Have a Dream speech and share that with you guys, but I think we might have to cut it for now. Some of this other stuff. Yeah, I think we're going to just go on to the rest of the introductions, and then into Emiliano and Angie. So, okay, great, cool. Thank you, Rico, for helping clarify all of that and get it clear on video and all of that as well for everybody else. I think that's really great. So, Kat, now please share in 2 or 3 minutes what we should know about Kat.
Hi, pleasure to be here with Uniting for Action. I've had 20 years of marketing experience in corporate America, and I'm now in real estate. And I met Jared many years ago in Landmark Education, and then we've both been in the shaman circles without knowing it, the fire celebration folks down in Miami Beach and all that kind of stuff. I've actually been to Claudia's house, Paloma. It's such a small world, right? And I think that what inspires me about Jared is his relentless vision of a planet that seems immeasurably beyond help, that we can do it anyway. What I love is your eternal optimism, and you just basically have this engineer's brain, like we're just gonna organize it enough where so if we can manifest in our smaller circles bigger and bigger and bigger, then we're going to manifest bigger and bigger and bigger toward solving these problems. And that's what I like about this. I was going to say we could use blockchain technology or something to make sure that when we vote on things, as we discover better and better solutions for marketing our businesses to saving the planet, I think I like the idea of using technology to figure out, to make this thing happen, because I'm a technologist at heart. One of my biggest commercial successes in technology was marketing for a company that had a really good exit strategy. So I like technology, and I like big dreams, and I would love to know about feng shui and how it ties in with astrology, because that makes so much sense, actually. Why isn't that something that they teach in schools, for example, instead of learning things that are on Google and just being trained on how much to memorize? Why don't we have landmark education in schools, essence of being in schools, feng shui in schools? These are the kind of things that we talk about here. So that's me.
Let's make it happen. Why it hasn't happened? Because we were not ready for it. But now that you're talking, you know that you can make it happen.
That's it.
So,
yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. And as you're saying that, I feel like, I'm thinking, and in my mind, I'm debating whether, all right, I'm going to go on. I keep debating whether I should show the I Have a Dream video I was going to show you. I'm just going to share very quickly why I wanted to share that video with you. Dr. Martin Luther King's video from, when he shared on the steps in Washington, the Lincoln Memorial. Well, first of all, you know what, I can't do it justice. I think it's important as an energetic anchor to what we're doing as an organization that I share this with you guys and share the context of it, because I want everyone, as you're watching it, to own the greatness that's inside of you on the level of what Dr. Martin Luther King did, you know, in his life. And this is, he is one of my, you know, top role models, along with Gandhi and Nelson Mandela, for the what I've seen, you know, as the top level of just making choices to be who they were. It's as simple as that. That was the base level that I got it in a landmark program, actually, in just a moment, to get that the difference between Gandhi and me was whatever choices that I make, because I can make choices to be a Gandhi. I can make choices to be a whatever. It's all the choices that they made in their lives that are available to people all around them, but they're the ones that made those choices. And so I just want to share this because I want you and everyone who's watching this video to recognize that at every moment we have the opportunity to be as great as we can possibly envision for ourselves. And the only thing that's preventing us is whatever it is that is preventing us, which is why we're attracting people like Paloma and Aaron and Kevin and Burge and these people onto our council who are, you know, experts at helping us perform at the highest levels as humans, right? So that we can embody the most amazing divine sense of ourself that we have, because we all have that sense and we all have things that have been blocking us and standing in our way. And we've been challenged enough as individuals. We're now systematizing the support of all of these amazing people to support all of us together, you know, all the time, in being our best versions of ourselves all the time. That's one of the real core things about Uniting for Action, is to really get that in people. Yeah.
Well, so I've had since I've joined the council, which I kind of believe, Jared, that you are offering a course. Try that on, because I think that you have something in your head that you're trying to get out, and then you're actually making it a company as you go. But since I joined your course, I closed 2 deals this weekend, and I'm actually being coached by a legit movie star who has a movie on Netflix, and he's coaching like 20 people on so I was on with him yesterday, and I realized that movie stars are just like us. He didn't look, the lighting wasn't that great on the thing, and he was just talking, and he said, you know, I don't have any balls. And we were like, what? And he had cancer, that kind of cancer, testicular. And I mean, this is really crass for me to say. What I'm trying to say is, I think it's easy to put people on a pedestal nowadays because of money or fame. And I think what I'm getting is, we're all finding out that all these things that we think are so important in the world, we really just want it to work out for everybody. Nobody left out. No homeless, nobody without enough food and water, everybody with good mental, physical, and well-being, a planet that looks healthy. I mean, I think that's the space we're in now. The fame and fortune thing is not what it's cracked up to be. And so you have a big mission here, and maybe you can use those rocket science skills to pull something together, you know, and systematize it. And I think the manifestation, you know, our homework was to watch The Secret Movie again. So I'd invite everybody on this call. It's free on Netflix. Watch The Secret Movie again. That was a piece of genius. It wasn't the whole story, but it was certainly a good introduction to it.
It was how I got introduced to the law of attraction. That was the exact way that I got introduced. And then I started listening to the teachings of Abraham after that. And so, but yeah, definitely, you know, amazing. And with all of what I was sharing, and with Kat shared, you know, the reason I'm about to share, you know, for these 4 minutes, this video with you of the I Have a Dream speech, is because it's all in the language of the vision, right? And we are bringing the mechanism to the language of the vision, but it's all about the language of the vision, it's all about making that declaration in a way that inspires people. I often for myself think about when I'm talking, I think about like the King's Speech. It's actually, I've only seen it, and I have to watch the video again because I can't, it was only once that I saw it, but it was actually in one of the Legend of Narnia movies that the king, the kid, was like up on the ship and was like rallying the troops. And it was like so like immeasurably inspiring to me at that moment. I had in my mind the concept of the King's Speech, like the king, you know, being so inspiring that the whole kingdom goes off in the direction that the king is, you know. And so really all of us have the ability at any time to give a King's Speech to marshal the vast forces of humanity as much as you can inspire them to follow whatever your vision is. This day and age of the internet, we are all connected to everyone in the kingdom. Everyone has the opportunity to be the leader. The most inspiring are the ones that are, is what it comes down to. And this is the full embodiment of that concept.
Replace your notebooks and printed documents with Remarkable 2, the only tablet that feels like paper. On a hot day in August 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered a speech that would define the civil rights movement and his legacy. This, of course, was his I Have a Dream speech, delivered on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom.
I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
The March on Washington served as a massive push for economic and political justice for African Americans. Held during the year celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation, crowds marched on the National Mall to watch a variety of musical performances and speeches. Dr. King, a Baptist preacher and prominent civil rights leader, was scheduled to speak towards the end of the day, his debut on the national stage. Up until that point, King mostly addressed small crowds at Black churches, rallies, or fundraisers. This time, he would be seen by nearly 250,000 people on the ground, as well as millions at home watching on television. This was an opportunity to reach a wide audience and persuade the public and the government to take action against racial injustice. The night before, King worked with a close group of advisors to get the speech just right. They worked through the night, settling on a final draft in the pre-dawn hours of August 28th. Interestingly, the phrase, "I have a dream," a phrase he used in earlier speeches, was nowhere to be found in this copy. The words wouldn't manifest until almost halfway into Dr. King's speech, when gospel singer Mahalia Jackson, who had performed earlier in the day, called out to him from the sidelines to tell them about the dream. King said, prepared remarks aside, and improvised the rest, crafting a soaring speech that would sear into the minds of millions of Americans.
No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream.
The speech was divided into 2 parts. The first listed the injustices that African Americans faced: segregation, police brutality, disenfranchisement, and discrimination, and urged a call to nonviolent action. The second launched into King's dream of peace and racial harmony, a vision of a future in which people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
I have a dream.
Highlighting King's skills as a preacher, I Have a Dream was part sermon and part poetry, using rhetorical devices like repetition, rhyme, and vivid metaphor to drive his points home. It was peppered with historic, biblical, and literary references that moved the crowd. This message of struggle and hope became the defining moment not only of King's career, but also the civil rights movement. speech and the March on Washington were credited with helping secure the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, a landmark piece of legislation that ended segregation and banned discrimination on the basis of race or sex in the workplace.
Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty! We are free at last!
The speech also resonated with activists around the globe. I have a dream. The phrase that wasn't even meant to be in his final draft appeared in political actions all around the world. It's considered one of the world's most transformative and influential speeches, alongside others like Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address and Winston Churchill's Blood, Toil, Tears, and Sweat. I Have a Dream is only one of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s many achievements, but it's nonetheless one of the most pivotal.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation.
You know, I just want to say that it's been my lifelong goal to, you know, allow the Dr. Martin Luther King, the Gandhi, the Nelson Mandela in me to be out and to be able to lead people on a level that those people led people. And as it's been my goal to do that within myself, I am doing my best to systematize my whole life's work, Paloma's whole life's work, all of these other people's life's work of what, you know, they're doing to help everybody remove all the obstacles and be their most amazing self. And I believe as we mature this system and we systematize this, that we will be living in a whole society filled with Dr. Martin Luther King's and Nelson Mandela's and Mother Teresa's and all of the people, because we have so many obstacles in all of our ways to be the most amazing self that we could possibly be on this planet. And so many of them are unnecessary. And so many of them are just based on the fact that we're living in a world that's the way the world works. And the world doesn't have to work that way. And we're creating a totally alternative way of people thriving in all kinds of amazing ways to be a factory producing world leaders, you know, everybody as a world leader, leading in whatever they're capable of leading and whatever they want to lead. And that's the opportunity. You guys are right at the beginning of that, which means that as this grows into that each one of you can play whatever role you want. The whole world is your canvas right now as you get to experience it. It's a fresh new world and you get to start painting it however you want. So with that, I just want to thank you and honor you. Take a moment to acknowledge each one of you that are here, all of the other Leadership Council members that are on the Leadership Council now, all of the people that are watching this. This is, you know, now we get to hear how Emiliano and how Angie are taking steps to lead their greatest sense, you know, of their lives. So thank you to everybody. And thank you, you know, Emiliano, for sharing with us, you know, how you are using this process and this opportunity to embrace your biggest, most greatest sense of yourself.
Thank you, Jared, for your introduction, but your presentation on Martin Luther King. I think it's been a while since I watched that, or I got present to what it was, and I know we celebrate today his day, so I think it's awesome to bring him. So I think that I'd like to share, well, first of all, Paloma, my name is Emiliano. I'm from Mexico.
Me too.
Yes, okay. That's what I thought. I wasn't sure if you were from Colombia. or Mexico?
We're
Yes, I'm
Mexican
from
too. We
Mexico.
have a Mexican gathering.
Ah!
Excelente.
Yeah. Hola, amigos.
We can do a chat in Spanish another time. So I live right now in Maryland, and I've been here for about a year and a half now. And my intention with this whole manifestation process is to work on transitioning to a different city, or to a city. Right now I live in a rural area, and it's been really good for me to be here for the last 6 months. But I'm ready to transition to something a place that has a more people, more opportunities, and particularly the entrepreneurship ecosystem that I'm very, very interested in being around, getting inspired by. So I feel like that's missing.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Amelia. It makes me remember. Do you mind if I show your video first? Because you're going to say some of those things in the video, and then I'll let you add to it after we show the video. Is that cool?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Just in the interest of time, so we're not duplicating. Okay, to 10:18.
To work somewhere that is related with, well, right now I work in an entrepreneurship center, so that's given me good experience to do something like that elsewhere, and at least I can have the background and just come in and be like, hey, or a co-working space as well. That's the other thing I'm doing, so I could probably go and work somewhere there in co-working or an entrepreneurship center, something like that. But my ultimate vision is to work at a startup and be part of like a new team, or develop my own company, which I don't know yet what's it gonna be on, or I know that I want to do something that makes a difference, of course, like a social impact company. But
Cool. So again, you get an idea of the conversation that we were having in the analysis, and how it's kind of teasing this information out of him for him to kind of get more and more clear, more and more specific about the types of things that he wants to manifest. So I just wanted to throw that in, Emiliana, so everybody could see, and then you can work around that and share what else you want to share as well.
Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, very, very key moment in that conversation. So,
and that's the thing, it's those clips that'll go like on his page, where he's talking about it. And these are the things that we're pulling out. And actually, I meant to show you, so it's good that I'm showing you guys now. Hold on one second. Apologize for the interruption again, Emiliana. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you guys, is that this is what it looks like for me when I do it, when I process a video. So this is Emiliano's video. So what I do is I go through the whole video, and then I mark the start time and the stop time of a certain clip that I think is significant. Like here, help us systematize creating results. You're the first people. So these are all the different timestamps that I've identified in his video, all the different links to all of those. So look, there's, I don't know, 20, 30 different clips. Oh my God, maybe more, 40, I don't know how many it is. It's a lot.
That's a good call, I guess.
It's a lot. And that's the thing. And that's where, I'm not sure that all of those are going to make it as separate clips. Some of them may be compiled. It's really based on what the resources are available to do the editing, essentially, to do the video processing and doing the editing. And that's where, again, this is especially where we're going to be outsourcing that work as quickly as possible. So again, what I'm doing is doing it myself. So I understand like what's what ways do I want other people to do it? How am I going to train people? What is it going to look like to process this video? So that's, again, why I'm doing all the work myself, but again, very quickly as possible, we've got people that do that sort of thing. So that's what you guys can see the layers of what's happening to go through the analysis and then process the video and then, market and brand and all the different things, but you guys are seeing it. And again, in a way right now, it's just like, it's in a baby way because Jared's doing everything. I mean, it's the most, the least refined level when I'm doing it all, but it's just a model. And this is the way we're all doing it. We're all becoming models in whatever we're doing because we're all documenting it. And then it's all becoming, potential protocol. And I'm going to let Emiliano explain that because we started with, his move, and then he'll also get into how we talked about, the business opportunities that exist even within the system once he's starting to do, certain things that can be in demand by other people, which is what you're all doing. So anyways, Emiliano, let me let you jump back in and catch up wherever you want in there.
No, it's all good. So anyways, my vision with this project is to figure out what do I want to do, where do I want to go. I've discovered that a city that attracts me and calls my attention is Austin, Texas. I think that's the city that has the energy that I'm looking for right now. And I've been doing research on it and, starting to find what are some of the neighborhoods that are there and where do I want to live and start looking at home, like prices for renting a place.
I can help you, Emiliano. I have an ex-boyfriend who lives there and he loves it and knows it really well. And he's a Landmark grad. So I'll connect you two.
Oh, yes. Great.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
amazing. Yes.
This is how it works.
That's perfect. Yeah, because that's one of the things like networking and making friends and like all of that. I appreciate that, Kat. And so yes, that's really what my project will be. And Jared was suggesting that if I can document my whole process for how I do the move and how I'm doing, like what am I doing to move, and then I can put all that together into some kind of course or document. Then I can sell it to others and make some money in the process as well and monetize that time that I put into moving to somewhere, so others have an easier time doing it in the future. So that's the idea. I don't know if I know exactly how I'm gonna monetize it, because that's the challenging part, and that's where Jared and I've been talking about, and I feel like a lot of people don't really know how to monetize their skill sets or their time, and it's a big issue because we all have something to offer, but how do we bring that value to the world and express it and have people buy it or want it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's great that you're saying that. I really appreciate you, bringing all that up, Emiliano, because, right now he and I are having a conversation about different ways that we could potentially monetize it. And, I'll get into a little specifics, but the idea again is that this is just the starting point of the best practices, right? Really, the idea is that there are experts out there that are experts in monetizing businesses, right? In all kinds of different ways. And so the idea is to create a system where they can show up, because not only does Emiliano need that, but all kinds of people need that service. So, we essentially, again, create the framework for that expertise to be showing up so that Emiliano can tap into best practices, immediately. And he can decide, so what is it going to cost me to, get this information? Again, it's this whole exchange. We're all being marketplaces for each other. Like, the information is there at our fingertips. It's just the cost or whatever. So again, Emiliano is potentially, being on the cutting edge of that, because what we talked about is that he is preparing to do a really detailed search where he's going to potentially find all of like the businesses that fit the criteria that he's looking for within Austin. And as he's like finding all of those businesses and all that contact information, he's going to be, you know, doing research and connecting with, we even talked about, you know, him intentionally, you know, Kat, you're going to connect him with your ex-boyfriend, and then the idea for him to find however many connections from there, the whole like, and who else can you refer me to, the whole process of building a network. So Emiliano is prepared to build a network in Austin just to figure out like where he wants to land and what he wants to do and all this sort of thing. And just in building that network that he's doing for himself, he's potentially creating value with every single node in that network because he's doing it within a certain vibration, a certain interest. And just all of those people would potentially be interested in knowing each other, connecting with each other. So, you know, you start to get to these layers of value that we're creating, you know, besides, again, the list of the businesses and how to find a business. And just, you know, Emiliano is got skill sets that allows them to do these things where other people couldn't do it on their own, and they need somebody like an Emiliano to do it, and where they can't hire an Emiliano, but they could, you know, buy his data or whatever it is. You guys start to see that we're creating a system where all these repeated needs are now filled because there's a platform where any time anybody is doing anything for themselves, essentially they're doing it for others. Others could you know, benefit from that. So like you're saying now, how do we monetize that? Well, again, I can kind of give ideas of it, but I'm not going to figure that out. We're going to find people that, you know, can figure that out and they give us best practices. There's best practices about how to do that. So that's what we're doing, is attracting that best practices all the time because there's a business opportunity. You know, you're saying, hey, I could use this. So now we just need to find somebody that says, hey, I can fill that need. And that's what we're doing within the whole network here. So Emiliano is really on the cutting edge in some very interesting ways in terms of this business thing. So again, we're going to kind of keep you guys tuned in so you can see, you know, if Emiliano develops any kind of business, you know, around this, or, you know, it's a whole aspect of what we're going to be doing with all of this, just to kind of give you guys a sense of the different angles. You know, you can be users of the system in certain ways and other ways as well. So any questions or comments, Emiliano, that you want to share?
No, I like the idea of being a guinea pig and testing this out. It's gonna be fun.
That's great. That's great. We all really appreciate that. Yeah. We're gonna have Angie share now. Paloma, do you mind muting real quick?
I'm gonna have to jump off.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I understand not everyone planned to stay. I really want as many people as they can stay, because what Angie is going to share is going to be very valuable for all of us. But I understand if any of you have to go, since we only plan to be on until 9:30. So thank you, Emiliano. See you.
Yeah, and I'll hear the recording so I can hear Angie's.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, great. So Angie, please dive right in and share. And I'm going to see Emiliano. Oh, and actually, Angie, I'm going to share your video first too, so you can talk around the video that I shared. So let me bring that up first.
Perfect.
Okay, 9:17 to 11:30.
What I was gonna do for my manifestation was
Angie, actually, can you mute while this is going, because we can hear the background music there. Okay, perfect.
What I was gonna do for my manifestation was like a headquarters here in Florida, and I still want to do that because I feel like Florida needs a space for this, but I also want to focus this as like a long-term living situation that I want to manifest for a lot of us, right? For myself, for all of our team, this is where we want to live. Yeah. As you know, Costa Rica is like the new Earth headquarters of the world. And I'm seeing this as like a long-term vision, even though I do want to have a smaller Florida headquarters. So I don't know, maybe we can talk about how that.
Yeah, it's great that you're starting with that, because that's kind of, where we want to start with, is to ponder a bunch of different types of visions that you have and scales and time frames, because, soon you will start having a number of these visions in the system, mapped out in the system, specifying the stakeholders you're looking for. Eventually you'll have your whole world kind of mapped out within the system, right? So that you can direct anybody to whatever part of it, and they can support you. And that's kind of where we're going with this, right? Like a very much an organizational structure and system for our lives to organize all the different ways that we're working on creating results and bringing visions alive into the world, right? So that's the longer term, like where we're going with it. So now it's a matter of which one do you want to focus on, that you can create results with in the next few weeks, in particular with this group of people, in the leadership council, and that you want to, use this time, this moment in time to focus on. So if you're certain that it's in this area, or you want to explore different areas, it's really up to you. But that's the opportunity right now, is like, what's going to be the featured vision that you're going to be describing to the leadership council, that you're going to be focusing on doing some video editing to get the videos right, and whatever it looks like. So do you have a clear vision of that, or do you want to keep talking it out a little bit more?
Yeah, maybe we can talk about it a little bit more, and then if you get more clear, just like I said.
And with that, I'll let Angie share where she's at with all of it now. And thank you, Angie, for having such a big vision and sharing this vision. South Florida, Costa Rica, the bridge, just everything, all that you're holding is really, really awesome. And I'm super excited about the way that you're using the manifestation process to really, take on what you're up to as well. Thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So basically what we were talking about in the video was about creating a New Earth headquarters space. And we want to create a space here in Florida that serves as foundation for those of us who live here, and then creating a bigger space in Costa Rica. And I'm already working on a project that is doing just that, which I shared with Jared. And I could share more information about that with our group. Basically, we're looking to create, it's called Abundancia, and it's basically a New Earth development where we're going to be taking 1,400 acres of forest and working with a team where we have the development plan and the structures necessary to actually make that happen. And basically, it's all going to be developed with feng shui, permaculture, all of the different homes, eco homes that are going to be designed. We're going to have different sizes of homes and different options, from like tiny homes and having smaller scale lots. And we're going to also have like bigger 6-bedroom homes with bigger lots. And we need a certain amount of an investorship so that we can purchase that land. So basically right now we're looking for an $8 million investor. And I'll share the pitch deck, which I believe Jared has it, and we did a video on that also in our conversation, and we went through all of the specifics around that. So that's the project that I'm working on, manifesting the investorship for that. And definitely I would like something that's also shorter term, because that's a very long-term project. And I would like to create a space like that here in Florida as well. Florida is a very beautiful subtropical space where we need to have also like a New Earth community where people can live, and where we can live in connection with nature, and where we can produce our own food, and where we can live naturally, enjoying the beautiful weather, and making space design using permaculture and feng shui, where we can actually enjoy the beautiful environment and create that sacred space where we can operate at our best. I'm really looking forward to doing that. So that's what I'm manifesting here.
That's
It's
amazing.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's the thing. I know that there's people here, and I'm going to share for you, Angie. That's the pitch deck, right? That you wanted to share.
Yeah.
So there's the pitch deck in the chat, everybody. So you can see, again, the vision that Angie has for this big global enterprise, and then also, this local manifestation as well. So really, really awesome, and excited to see how we continue with this. See you, Michael.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you, Michael. Great to have you here. The thing that I want to share with what Angie and I worked on, let me go ahead and pull it up here. The actual document that we worked on got quite detailed, and I think that it's good for everybody to see where Angie and I went with it. And really, all the information that we got on paper from what, we were looking at. So we got into the beginning formulating a plan and the strategy for the management phase. So what stakeholders do I need? And we started with South Florida and went into, partnership or strategic partner. Basically, Angie was talking, I was typing notes, and this is all that I typed. So that's why I'm going to kind of share with you guys what I did. And then Angie will go in and, go ahead and, I don't think you've added to it yet. Have you, Angie?
I haven't yet. No, I have to get it to it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is what we did in the session is, everything here for South Florida, Sacred Temple and all the different aspects of the Sacred Temple, the ecological space, the co-working space and all the different aspects of the co-working, music, art studio, making things, and then Costa Rica, and then the land investor and the benefits of the exchange. So we got into all the different benefits for somebody that'd be a potential investor. So again, really important work that we did in documenting all of these specifics to really be able to have materials to present to investors, others, stakeholders, that sort of thing. Development team and the specifics she needs with that, the different clients and all the different types of clients and all of this. So again, this is where I just want to show you guys that, because Angie and I went further in this part of the process than I went with Emiliano or with Paloma. We got into these specifics to really get a lot of those details down in the document, right? And so I just want you guys to see how detailed it gets once, because Angie was very clear coming in, this is what I want to do. We dove right into all of those kinds of details. So Angie, thank you for taking that dive, and we'll continue to. And this is where, again, you guys will have, we're going to start to share, this week, again, when I get the Google Drive and all you guys set up on Slack and all that sort of thing, we'll all get to see each other's documents. So it can be models for each other, and we can all see what everyone else is doing. And this is how we start to systematize it, right? Before there's even a system, at least we've got other examples to look at. And then we can, so we can all have some guidance and some ideas. And then maybe Paloma, has some similar needs that Angie has, and they talk with each other and they talk about things, and people start to find each other and strategize, because they're uncommon things and that sort of thing. So at least we're starting all of that type of collaboration just by going through this process. So, and as you guys saw, Kat had, somebody, for Emiliano right there. So it's boom, just perfect example, right? So.
And I have a question for Angie. Have you heard about a place named Serene Bee? It's in Atlanta.
No, I haven't heard of it.
For what I understand about your project, so one of the things that I do is in feng shui, which is the highest form of best form of feng shui, which is called landform analysis. So it's to study the landforms, you know, the environment, nature, to determine where there's good cheese. So one of my clients, a lot of my clients fly me into different spaces, and one of them flew me to Atlanta to go to Serenity. And I discovered that it's this kind of like new utopia cities where like it's like new development, a little bit for what you're describing. That is a very high end. You need to really Google it. And if you have the opportunity, actually go and see it. Because once I was there, I was like, wow, this place is just so beautiful. And they created these beautiful little communities. This was mostly done because a lot of the people that lives in Atlanta, in the big city, they're just getting tired of all the noise, and they want to be in a place that has, you know, better energy, better environment, grow their own little food. They use these certain types of I don't know, energetic things to create the setup. But I think that would be very interesting for you to analyze how it has started to work in other places around the world. Another one that I don't know if you, yeah, I don't know if you're like familiar with it, but it was very surprising for me recently because, you know, this is exactly what you're doing. It's exactly what is popping up in different areas of the world. So I was flown also to Guatemala to go to see one of my clients' new plantation. But while he was hosting me there, he hosted me at a place named Cayala. And I was like, are you kidding me that this existed? I didn't even know. And they call it Neo-Urbanism. So there is this mini cities created inside of a city where if you stay within this mini city, everything is perfect. Now, if you live,
gosh.
yes. So if you leave, then you're on your own. But once you stay inside, it's unbelievable. That was about like a $400 million project, and they literally in that one, what they did was very ambitious and very kind of high end. They brought Europe, all of the best places of Europe, let's say some best places from London, from Paris, from Italy, and they built this mini city inside of the city of Guatemala, which is millions of, you know, like people. You can be super safe, and they provide everything. And you see how the architect, I think is Leon or something, it was a Belgian man, so one of the best in the world. So I don't know, it's kind of start telling me about a little bit of the project that you want to create, especially because if you're going to bring it to Florida, which is there's a really high-end market, right? You're going to try to do it the best that you can. So write it down. It's called Cayala with a C. That's with in Guatemala. With a C. That was very, very interesting. And now what is happening is that they build it very close to the US Embassy. So now most of the dignitaries around, you know, the world, they want to come to be in Guatemala because they live in this utopic city and place, which is stunning. Like, I mean, I was there and I'm like, wow, this is so beautiful. You know, just everything is perfection sort of thing. So then they can bring their families and be very happy and very safe. And then the other one that is half an hour of Atlanta, which I think is worth even visiting, because that one has, for what I was reading, that one has its own little inn, its own little restaurant, its own little petting zoo for kids, horses. You know, it's just very beautiful. It's called Serenbe with an SERENBE.
Yeah, Kat put it in the chat.
Perfect.
And Rico put the other one in the chat. So the links are in the chat. So awesome. Thank you, Rico and Kat, for doing that. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And I love your project. I love your project. So for example, what you will need to do before you're going to acquire the land is let's analyze the land and determine its feng shui. For it to be a good land, it has to have water. If you don't have water within the land, you will have to build this, you know, like handmade kind of bodies of water, because the water will attract the prosperity. And then from there, we see where are you going to start development, you know, the little houses, the big houses, where is the restaurant, where is the enter, how energy is going to flow and disperse, you know. So that would be amazing if you actually
I'd love to stay in touch with you so you could be part of our design team.
That would be wonderful. Good luck.
Well,
Yeah,
I was
we're-
going to say, when you get
yeah.
the $8 million investment, she gets a cut as a consultant on your project. That's how that
everybody gets paid when we get all our investments.
Yeah, that's
All our
really great.
consultants
I love the potential teaming up there. You know, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, these are just like top level, easy to see connections that are happening just between us. You guys can get a sense of as this grows into, you know, thousands, tens of thousands, millions of people, like all the connecting that's happening so easily, you know, really. And the value is there, right? It's like once the connection happens, the value is there. There's all this latent value in society that isn't happening because it's just not connected. We don't have systems, you know, again. So that's why once we create these systems, we're unlocking so much for ourselves on so many levels. So super excited about the way that you guys are being the pioneers. You guys are awesome. You guys are champions. You will be known in the future as being the first ones that did this. So, you know, we have an amazing journey ahead of us, and I'm super grateful for, you know, each one of those of you that are here, those of you that are watching this role in this creation, this co-creation of ours. I can't tell you, you know, how inspiring and gratifying it is to be sharing this journey with each one of you. I want to take a moment to let any one of you say whatever you'd like before we wrap up here. I'm just, you know, bursting.
We have a dream. We have a dream, all of us together. Yay!
Yay, beautiful. Perfect way to end, Paloma. Excellent. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.